Hi, my name is Victoria. It's Wednesday, 28th July 2021. This is very, very difficult for me to talk about. I've been holding this in for so many years. Anytime I've tried to talk about it, I get really emotional. I break down and I just stop talking. But the Lord has really, really, really pressed on me to talk to you about it. A dream that he gave me where he revealed himself to me. It was around 2012, 2013. I was living in Western Sydney and I was heavily addicted to heroin. I started using heroin when I was 16 years old. The Lord finally delivered me in early 2018 from methadone and heroin addiction. I had a very painful life. I suffered a lot of abuse, a lot of trauma, physical, sexual, emotional, verbal. I spent a lot of my youth in detention centres. I spent the best years of my young adult life in the women's prison system. That's my dog snoring, by the way. I always used to cry out to Jesus even before I got saved, before I really knew him. I used to cry out and ask him, why are all these horrible things happening to me? Why am I suffering so much? I have all these Christians telling me that Jesus loves me, Jesus loves me. And if you truly love me, why don't you prove it to me? For many years, I would shake my fist at heaven and say, if you love me, prove it to me. Prove it to me. And finally, one night he did. I was laying in my bed and I dozed off. And it was like, it wasn't even a dream. It was very, very real. It was like I was out of my body. And I felt very much alive, and my senses, everything, my emotions, everything was very, very heightened. It's really hard for me to explain. In this dream, it was like I was having 3 visions all at the same time. At first it was like, I don't know if I was in a room or where I was, like I couldn't see any colour, I couldn't see anything. All I know is that I was standing and Jesus was standing right in front of me. And in my mind, I knew that's Jesus. He was so real. He didn't speak a word. He was just looking at me. His eyes were full of pain. It was like he was so sad, like his heart was so broken. And he was just looking straight into my eyes. And I could feel so much emotional pain. It was so intense. I was crying and hyperventilating. I felt like I was going to explode. Seriously. The emotional pain that I was feeling, if I was feeling that kind of pain, emotional pain, like now, like not in a dream, like in real life, I would probably have a heart attack and die. You can't handle it. You just can't. But in my dream, it was just so much pain, emotional pain. I couldn't stop crying. It was very distressing. And at the same time, Jesus is looking at me with sadness in his eyes, and I'm feeling all this emotional pain. At the same time, he was showing me from his arms down to his fingers, just the arms, where he was having the nails driven into his wrists. It was like slow motion. It was like this massive hammer, and this big nail was just going bang, 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 like that, slow like that. And it was being driven into his wrist. And I could hear the echo of the hammer driving the nail into his wrist. And more emotional pain is coming out of me. I'm crying even harder and harder. And while I'm seeing Jesus looking at me and I'm feeling all this emotional pain, and then the nail going into his wrist, at the same time I see the third vision. I'm seeing all three visions at the same time. It's so hard for me to explain. Then I'm standing in front of Jesus while he's on the cross. I couldn't see any other people around me. I couldn't see the two thieves on his left or right. It was just Jesus. He was showing me himself on the cross. And his head is like looking down at me. And he had all this pain in his eyes, like he was hurting emotionally. And then those two visions went, they disappeared, like where I was seeing the nail going into his wrist and him on the cross, and then it was just me and him again, where he's standing in front of me, looking at me. And I was just sobbing uncontrollably. And then I woke up. And when I woke up in my bed, I had tears everywhere. My pillow was drenched. And I was like, it was like I could barely breathe. I was going like, like that, and crying uncontrollably. And I knew that wasn't just a dream. That was Jesus appearing to me. And I didn't really understand it, but what he was trying to tell me. And it was a few years later that he revealed to me what that dream was. All the years, I kept crying out to him, saying, if you love me, prove it. If you love me, prove it. Why am I suffering so much? He proved how much he loves me by letting me feel just a portion of his emotional pain. For when I rejected him, when I just kept sinning, when I kept running from him. The pain he went through when he was being crucified and when he was on the cross, that he died on that cross at Calvary, shed his innocent blood to save me from going to hell. That's how much he loves me. Because all the years I was injecting heroin and out on the streets and all the things I was doing. So many times I ended up in hospital within inches of my life. So many times I should have died. I used to try and overdose myself because I hated my life so much, because I was hurting so much. And he kept his hand on me. Any of those times, if he lifted his hand from me, I would have went straight to hell. But he kept his hand on me because he loves me so much. And he proved it to me. The Lord's been pressing on me really, really, really hard today to share this. I've kept it to myself for all these years. Please, if you have any kind of addiction, get on your knees and cry out to Jesus from the bottom of your broken heart. Ask him to deliver you. He will. I promise you he will. You know, after I had that dream, I still used drugs. I kept using. I kept living in sin. But he just kept trying to draw me closer to him. He kept showing me things, giving me more dreams. It's like I had one foot in heaven and one foot in hell. You can't serve two masters. You know, in April of 2018, I had enough. I was physically and emotionally tired. I was in my room here, and I got down on my knees, and I just wept and wept and wept. And I said, Jesus, please help me. I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore. Please, Lord, get me off the methadone. Please take the withdrawals away, or at least make them light. Take the temptation away from me. Take it away from me. Remove it from me, Lord. So please remove it from me and I'll glorify you. And within a few days, it was like I'd never used drugs in my life. I was completely delivered from methadone. If anyone of you have ever been on a methadone program, you know how difficult it is to come off it. It takes months, and the withdrawals are insane. Heroin withdrawals are insane. It is so painful. He took it all away from me. I can't be triggered. I've been around people that have been high in that lifestyle, and it doesn't affect me. It does not affect me at all. It's like I've never done it in my life. I don't even get tempted at all. Even when I'm feeling down or things go wrong in my life, I don't run to it, because that's what I used to run to before. Anytime something bad happened to me, which was every day, I would run to heroin. But now when something goes wrong, when I feel sad, when I'm feeling hurt or anxious or anything bad is happening in my life, I run to Jesus. I run to Jesus. And he helps me. So please, if you have any kind of drug addiction or anything that's hurting you in your life, or any kind of sin that you're stuck in, just put it at the foot of the cross. Call out to Jesus. Trust in him. Believe in him. And he will deliver you. I can guarantee you that. I'm a witness to that. He delivered me. I got on heroin when I was 16 years old. And he delivered me completely. April 2018. It's been over 3 years. I'm 46, 47 next month. So yeah, it's never too late. Just run to Jesus. Anyway, it's late. I'm going to cuddle up to my little doggy. And thank you for listening. Jesus bless you all.